Have you ever wondered how some professionals seem to navigate their careers with such precision and success? Do you sometimes find yourself wondering who guides these individuals, shaping their choices and propelling them forward? The secret often lies in having a mentor, someone who not just guides them, but also inspires them and challenges them to reach new heights. In today's episode of the 12 Days of Career Goals, we're going to dive into the transformative power of mentorship and how that can change a successful career. We'll explore the nuances of how to find a mentor, how to nurture that relationship, and uncover the strategies to forge connections that can actually last and propel careers. So get ready to uncover the secrets of finding your career mentor and transforming your professional path. Hello and welcome to day 5. I'm Teresa White, Career Clarity Coach and the founder of Career Bloom. And today I have the absolute privilege of talking with Sweta Regmi. Sweta is the founder and CEO of Teach and Do, a top career expert and a renowned voice in career development coaching. Her insights have been featured in major outlets such as CBC National, Global National, CNBC, WSJ, Daily Mail, and Forbes, just to name a few. She's also an acclaimed author with her book, 21 Resilient Women, becoming an Amazon bestseller and has been endorsed widely across Canada. Her journey from an immigrant to a leader in the Canadian job market is nothing short of inspiring. She's here to share her insights on how finding the right career mentor can be a game changer. Let's welcome Sweta.
Hello. How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here today with you.
Thank you for being here. It is an honor to have you here, and I'm so excited to talk to you about mentorship. Oh, and we have some comments in the chat already. Would love to see who's here in the audience. Drop a hi in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. And before we dive right into the big topic of mentorship, and I'm so excited to talk about it, but we're right in the middle of the holiday seasons, and I want to start off with asking, what is your favorite thing about the holiday season?
Just sweets, not watching diet and just having those sweet. I do have sweet teeth, and oh my God, it's I'm loving it right now. So I cannot literally warn my kids not to touch it because I am indulging on it.
It's like the best thing because you're allowed to do that in December, right?
Yeah, no guilt, nothing.
Favorite.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sweets?
Anything that they should look like cookies, and if there's coconut in it, I'm sold.
Oh God. I'm like coconut and chocolate is like that is mine.
Oh, yes,
so good. Well, we have more weeks of holiday time and more enjoying sweets, so that is awesome.
10 more pounds, and we're going to shred this in New Year.
We'll put that on our 2024 goal list that we're going to shred all of that again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love seeing Deborah tuning in, Andrew being here. Great to see everyone. And let's dive right into mentorship, but I want to start with your journey, especially how mentorship played a role in your successful transition and growth in the Canadian job market when you started as an immigrant to where you are now.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. And I think you're just reminding me of so many years ago. Mentorship was not even well known around that time. What was the mentor all about, right? So I think I didn't have any mentor back then as a young immigrant who lived all our life in different countries. The mentorship for me was just my husband. I was newly married and he was in US, and I flew with him, and he was actually my mentor. He came in as an international student in States, Minneapolis. That's where I was for a bit. And then I think I was unemployed. I was a housewife for a bit. And then when we moved to Canada, that's when everything hit me hard. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Who is going to be my mentor? I didn't even know what the mentorship was back then. But when I were to self-reflect back, I think I am who I am today because of, I think, initially my husband. We just celebrated our 23rd anniversary recently, right? So, and then I did have a really great mentor throughout in my corporate days. And we can talk about that a little bit later on. I'll bring some lived and tested experience, what worked and what did not work for me.
I love hearing that. And your story is just so inspiring. And I love that You also bring up, it doesn't have to be an external, like someone you don't know today. It can be your husband and can be a close person who supports you through that growth.
Absolutely. And I think when someone is there already living that life that you want to live in, you definitely want to look it up. And you don't have to go out there and look for someone who's working in the corporate world. I think when you are thinking about mentor, what we think about is someone old, someone really pretty up there, and you want to be them. But I think hierarchy is really important when you're choosing the mentor. And we can talk about that a little bit later on when it comes to career mentor. But like my mentor was more kind of like the career mixed of emotions and personal lives and everything that really helped me stand out in Canadian job market. And that was definitely my husband to begin with.
That is amazing. And Sweta, the first question I always get from people when we talk about mentorship is, how can I find a mentor? So what advice do you have for professionals who are seeking to establish a mentor and mentee relationship, and how could they possibly approach finding a potential mentor?
Absolutely. So I wanted to put the disclaimer out there. There's no one size fits all, at least in my opinion, when you're trying to pick the mentor. Of course, there's a right way to pick it and wrong way to pick it. So for me personally, I looked at my SWOT, which is strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat. And I wanted to focus on something that I can control, which is the strength and weakness part, my areas of personal development. So sometimes what you also need is we're thinking about this right now is mentors are someone who we just want to talk about it when it comes to our weaknesses. How do we go about navigating, around that? So I think I was definitely not only working on my weaknesses, areas of opportunity. I really wanted to find out the mentors who are going to validate my expertise and my strength as well, even make it better. So mentors are a different kind, right? So when you're a recent grad, your mentors probably are going to be quite different than when you start to work in the corporate ladder, when you want that leadership role, when you want to go on to the executive role. Some mentor criteria would be something that you really have to revisit as well. So this is where I'd be very cautious about it, picking the right mentor. Just don't have like really a lot of gap. Let's say if you're a recent grad and you want to go into the corporate world and let's say financial sector right now, you want to probably possibly look into the previous grad and how they got there. Probably that's one step at a time, right? So small thing to go on to the longer term. And if you want to be management material a little bit later on, you want to hone in that leadership skills, let's say in a corporate world, and you're not leading a team right now, then you probably want to go and talk to the new hire who just got into the management role as well. So one step at a time. So it depends on where you are in your career and what kind of strength that you bring in and what you need to work on based on the hard skills and soft skills to climb up the ladder. That's going to be we're going to be talking about that today.
That is such great insight that you don't have to start with the top. You can really take it one step at a time. And I often recommend looking for someone who does the work you would love to do. Would you agree with that, that those are people who guide you?
Absolutely. And I know throughout my life, when I was looking at someone to be mentee, I really looked up to someone who has lived my experience. So that way, not only I want to be them one day, plus I literally can feel what they're feeling like when they go there. And then they can feel my emotion right now. And it's really important for me to make sure that they empathize with my situation, because a lot of time when you're looking at the mentor and they're not emotionally connected, sometimes it's going to be very hard for you to actually get ahead. That's my personal opinion. So if I were to look at, let's say, as an immigrant who moved in Canada so many years ago, and if I wanted to go in a leadership role, I wanted to go talk to the people like me, South Asian person sometimes, right? And then go and say, how did you get there? I want to get there someday, right? So that way I can relate, they can understand my journey, my hurdles, and race factors into some time. But that does not mean that you just go out there and mentor, get the mentorship from your kind of people only. You have to have a diverse mentorship. So sometimes not only looking up, right, the flat, which is your colleagues could be one of them as well. You can choose them as a mentor. Sometimes looking down as well. And as a matter of fact, when I was really wanting to go on a TikTok, let's say, for, doing that video content and everything, I had nobody to look it up to. And then I looked to my son who's 16 years old, who's like, who doesn't post anything, but he has an idea about what's going on, what are the market like, right? So he was kind of like my mentee, guiding me, editing my videos and stuff like that. So mentor does not have to be just like up only, but you would learn so much from the bottom level mentor as well. So give it that thought too.
That's such a great thought, that even a younger person can mentor you. And it's about finding the people who can do something you want to learn. Like your son, he's the younger generation, they are all over social media. So they can teach a lot of things that might not come as natural to us as they come to them as they grew up with it.
And this is why we're going to talk about this, right? So when it comes to choosing the mentor, it does not always have to be, I want to get that promotion, right? So what are the skills that you're missing that you can hone in? So let's say that if you want to be very good at presentations, and that's what happened to me in corporate world, English is not my first language. So whenever there's a presentation coming up in a pipeline, I would just shy away from it. I would not put my hands up. And later on, I decided to sit in and see the people who are really good at presenting, public speaking and whatnot. Then I chose to partner with them and then seek the feedback and hire them as a mentor, potentially in a coffee chat or something like that. And I told them my insecurity, right? You got to be very comfortable too. And you got to be able to trust them as well, saying that, I have these kind of insecurity. How do I overcome that? Can you stand on my presentation? Can you sit aside, let's say, right? Are you okay with that? And then later on, give me the feedback as well. What was my did well and do differently, right? So those are the route that you can go by as well, small step at a time. And it could involve the hard skills and soft skills at the time. It does not always have to be, I want to get next promotion, I want to get hired too. So take a look at your inventory of skills and see where you're lacking and pick mentors based on your skills as well. Sometimes it's worth it.
I really appreciate that you brought up that it has to be someone that you can be vulnerable with and can share those insecurities. Because if you pick a mentor that you don't feel you can open up to, it is hard to talk about the areas you want to get better in. Like, I relate to public speaking. English is not my first language either, and that is a challenge for us. And unless I can open up to someone, it is really hard to seek help. So finding someone you feel comfortable with is a really important factor.
Absolutely. And when it comes to, let's say, climbing up on the ladder, there is a different way to do it as well, right? Are you trying to climb up the ladder internally, right? Or you want to quit and go somewhere else that you feel like I'm no longer earning and learning, right? Two categories. I'm not earning, I'm not learning. So what do you want to do? Do you want to earn more? Do you want to learn more, right? So as soon as you feel like you're not earning and learning, it's time to probably self-reflect and see, all right, I want to move up or I want to quit and go out. And quitting is not a bad thing. And we got to make sure that we unlearn these things, which is winners never quit. I've quit twice, right? And I probably would not have quit if I didn't really have a good mentors to guide me, saying that I don't think it's the right role for you. I think it's time for you to quit, and here's how you do it. So you need to have those mentors who's going to hold you accountable. When are you going to quit? When are you going to quit? Let's do this, right? And I've quit twice,
Wow.
So I think you have to have those people who are going to see some talent in you that you don't even see it yourself and push you. Mentors are not the one who's going to do the work for you. Let me get it very straight. You are the one who's going to execute it, right? They're there who's already lived the experience, and they're going to say, it's going to be okay. I've done it. Look at me, kind of thing, right? So they're the one who's going to show you what's possible. And that's, to me, is a great mentorship.
Yeah. And as you said, you have to do the work as the mentee. And when you approach a mentorship with that mindset of like, I'm willing to do the work, I'm looking for someone to guide me, but I'm willing to do the work, your chances of finding mentors are so much greater, because it's exciting to mentor someone who actually wants to grow and learn and do the work.
Absolutely. And I normally volunteer in particular organizations, like partner with the other people out there in organization as well. In fact, I was doing this for 6 months. We just wrapped it up in October. I had a couple of mentees, university grad, and they were already working, and they were not clear on the career clarity. So system actually picked it up, and then they assigned me a couple of mentee, and I learned so much from them. The reason I didn't have to do it, because recent graduates are not my market at all, right? But I chose to do it because I really wanted to see what these organizations are teaching, university colleges teaching. Why are people not able to bounce back soon, right? So for that, I saw their resume, the way they talk in interview, like the personal branding on social media, whatnot. And I learned so much as a mentor, as much as they learned so much from me. And then one of the mentor was so amazing. She executed everything. She attended my free masterclass. She looked at my videos and YouTube and everything. We had a structure in place and she executed it. And the surprise thing was later on when the mentorship wrapped up, I didn't know this girl at all. And we had great bonding. And the funny part was she went from zero clarity to now she has a clarity. Her branding is done by herself, based on the mentorship we had. And she flipped a recommendation for me on LinkedIn profile. I was like, what? I didn't even ask, right? So I felt so good about it. Okay, even though it was free, I impacted her career somehow. And sometimes you really want to go out there and boost that relationship with the mentors as well by doing the right thing. If you learn something, don't forget to go and offer that gratitude too. And we tend to forget about it when it's free. But this is the holiday season right now. I want you to go back and thank people who is making impact in your life. And I've done that all the time. You don't have to buy them gift card. You don't have to do anything. All thank you matters, like DM out there in social media, right? This is who you are. These things cannot be taught. And if you want to be someone who is looking for that next promotions, guess who's going to look after you? These are the mentors, right? So have that long relationship, because mentorship is not about right now. It would be short term depending on your commitment. I've never mentored someone more than 6 months, 3 to 6 months, right? And then they're their own way. I'm going in my own way. But I would definitely think about them if they keep on touch, if they keep on coming back to me with the advice or the tips, anything like that, right? So don't forget that they're there for you forever, but what are you going to do about it too, right? Relationship matters.
Oh, I love that you brought up gratitude, especially as you said during the holiday season. I actually love the holiday season to pick up relationships that we haven't talked to in a while, because it is so easy around this time. If you had someone in the past who impacted your career, to send them a note and say, hey, it's the holidays. I've been thinking about you and how grateful I am for how you helped me learn this or how you helped me grow there. And who would not appreciate such a thoughtful message around this time, anytime, but especially around this time?
Absolutely. And it's been great right now, to be honest, Risa, right? When we were climbing up the ladder, corporate ladder, there were no social media, LinkedIn, stuff like that. And you don't even have to talk to people inside the organizations. You can talk to people outside who you look up to. If you wanted to go and work for the top companies, they're on your list. If they're posting content, you got to go and support them, right? So I see a lot of DMs sitting in my pile saying that I love your work, right? But and I'm thinking, and I would promote your work and everything, but I never see them coming in my content and talking about it. So when you're praising, the leadership rule here is, as a mentee as well, I always tell people, if you really like somebody else's work, go out there and on a rooftop and scream. That's what you should be doing, because you're so proud to celebrate that. You show up for people, right? So this is so important right now for people who are looking for a mentor. If they are producing content, you find some article, they're part of it, the interview, anything like that, most easy thing is to be genuine about it, authentic about it, and just show up and say, hey, that was a great work. This was my 3 takeaway, right? And a lot of people don't think about that. They just hide behind that DM and start to communicate. But it takes a lot of time for people to answer those questions. Nobody owes you that free time, right? You should not be entitled. You should make them feel that, oh, this person actually needs my advice. I would not mind them, making my mentee, because let's be very real. I mean, we don't have time, right? 24/7 to mentor somebody. You got to stand out for people to take you in a mentorship journey.
And you just touched on that. There is often it's being said that mentor-mentee relationships should be mutually beneficial, but I think often mentees can feel like, what can I contribute? What do I have to give? Especially if the other person is more senior. How, in your opinion, can mentees build and maintain mutually beneficial relationships with their mentors?
And I think, so I've had situation like that where in a corporate world where I had mentor who were pretty up there, senior leadership, right? So I would just ask them, hey, what's the project you're working on it? Is there something that you feel that, you need my tips or advice on it? I would love to actually see the project and see where there's a missing gap on it, right? So I learned so much from it, but then they learned so much from that as well. So don't be like, you don't be like that where you feel that you are not able to help those people out, especially on senior leadership, right? They're human at the end of the day. They're vulnerable too. Just ask them, how can I help you? Even like, let's say one of the example that I want to bring in is when there was something happening in the pipeline, I didn't even know the project was coming in, and I was passed on the project just because it was between the leadership meeting that I said it, that I'm willing to take that task on, right? So you have to initiate and say, I'm willing to take these kind of tasks on because I can bring the expertise on it. So people can't read your mind. Mentor can't read your mind either. So make it very clear what you want and say, I need your support. Whenever there's a room full of opportunity, can you put my name in the hat, right? You're not demanding, you're saying that you have that talent and they can help you out as well. And that's what the mentor should do as well.
That's such an important point, is that mentors can't read your mind, and no one really can. Unless you ask, they don't know that you are looking for a mentor. Unless you ask, they don't know that you're looking for opportunities to do more of a certain, to take on more projects, do more difficult tasks, work at more complex projects. You have to ask, you really have to spell it out. Otherwise, and I think especially women, we tend to be like, oh, don't they see like I'm working hard, and shouldn't they automatically give me opportunities? But we actually have to speak about it like, this is what I really want to grow in, and I'm looking for opportunities so that others have the chance to help us.
Absolutely. And the mentorship process is not making sure you're going to be overwhelmed sometimes. And when are you going to be overwhelmed is when you have that gap in hierarchy. Remember, if you're a manager and you want the executive as a mentor, possibly it's not going to work for you, because executive thinking is different way than leading. The way they lead the team is going to be completely different than the new manager who's just trying to get that leadership skills building up, right? So you probably want to look into the mentors as a senior managers. That way you understand how do they move up, and what are the lessons learned, right? So again, there's nothing wrong with having that hierarchy on top, which is like, I want to be mentored by executive. But I personally have felt that when you are working with the executive, they're on go. And if you're not the person who is really who has let's say that skills of high level, then it's going to be hard. So you have to continuously go around picking the right mentor to get the best out of mentorship, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. And it's also, every manager has a different leadership style. Yes. And that was something that was really important in my career, of learning from different leaders and managers, no matter if I was working under them or I was being mentored by them, to see the things that I want to do when I become a manager and the things I might not want to do when I become a manager. And I'm wondering, from that perspective, how important do you find it is to have mentors also from diverse backgrounds and industries? And what unique advantages can they bring to a mentee's career development?
Absolutely. So for the mentor who want to be mentor, let's say, I chose to be mentor for a bit, but then you really have to put the time and commitment as well, right? So you want to decide on quantity and quality, how many times you want to meet as well. And do you have that time limit as well, right? Do you want to do it on the office hour, or are you flexible to do it after too? So define your need as well when it comes to mentoring somebody. And I don't mentor anyone after hours or weekend or something because I chose to. So that might not work with the other mentee who do not have that much work-life balance. So define what works for you and have that calibrations before you start the mentorship sessions, because last thing you want to do is dismiss their concern as well, right? So that's a first step that I learned throughout the mentorship process. The second stage is plan the sessions, structure it, right? Just because you know so much, that doesn't mean that the person would want to learn from you, right? So ask them, why are they choosing you as a mentor? What are the things that they want to learn? Top 3 takeaway from this mentorship sessions, and then hold them accountable for it, which is, all right, next week, we're going to go with the branding. All right, this is what I want you to do. These are the resources and materials that I have. Look it up, and then we're going to go and see how I'm going to audit, let's say, your LinkedIn profile or resume, whatever it is, right? So now the ball is in their court, their court, right? So make sure you're holding them accountable and give them a SMART goal as well. So being vague about, I want you to work on this, but no resources for them to work on it, and not holding them accountable next time you meet in, I think that defeats the purpose as well, because you're equally committing at that time for yourself and the mentee as well, right? Just commit yourself and do the right thing for a mentee as well. And if you see something that it's bothering you, honestly, call it out, because that's why you're their mentor, right? And it's up to them to work it or not. And that's been my strategy. It's been working so far.
That is really, really great. And how do you see a benefit or a downside to it if they are in the same industry or a different industry? Do you have an opinion on finding mentors from the same company or outside of the company?
I would think it depends again, like there's no right or wrong answer for it. I think it depends on what you both want, right?
Mhm.
Some mentors are so talented in their industry, they have no clue about the other industry. And maybe they're trying to learn from the different industry as well, right? So are they seeking that as well? Remember, mentee and mentorship is all about learning from one another, right? It's not only mentoring it. So, and the mentee, when it comes to it, are they okay with going and getting the advice from people who are not a part of the industry as well? Are you comfortable with it, right? Personally, me, if I wanted to pivot, I would probably go and then find out the industry they're in, where I want to pivot. And I've done that personally. That worked for me. But if I'm not pivoting, I would probably stay with the same kind of industry, the people who really have a good niche and market as well. So I'm going to look into the expertise of them. That worked for me, right? It depends on where you are in your career. Pivoting, different industry. Not pivoting, and if you wanted to learn more about that person or that organization, is probably sticking with the same industry. And that's my opinion.
I agree, absolutely. And I do think that it's great to know that you have both of these options. And there's a big difference of finding a mentor within the same company who can really help you grow in that company, or finding a mentor outside of that company who might be able to help you make a career transition or can give you an outside perspective into an area that you want to grow into.
Absolutely. And that's where we come in, right? And you don't have to just go out there and look for people anymore, because there are a lot of organizations, and anyone who wants to look into let's say in Canada, especially if in Canada, anyone who is looking for a mentor, a free mentorship, anything like that, there's a lot of good organizations that I was part of it. Send me DM as well. I'll send you the link. And good part about this organization, I didn't even know they get the free LinkedIn Learning, guys. I was like, wow, right? Yes. And that's something I found out when my mentee said it. And I was pushing LinkedIn Learning courses for certain things and everything. She's like, yeah, I get it for free. I'm like, great, right? So you got to think about it too. What do you get out of it too, right? It's not only time and those things, but what do you get? Free resources? Who doesn't want the LinkedIn Learning? So anyone in Canada, if you want to be part of mentorship, and I'm not affiliated with them at all, I just completed my mentorship program with them, and I'll send you the link, and maybe they're taking you in. I don't know. You got to do the research.
That's such an incredible resource. And I know there are certain ones in the US as well. I volunteered with first generation college students as mentor as well. But I also know there's mentorship programs for moms returning to the workforce. And for so many different niches, there are different mentorship programs. And it can be such a great opportunity to take advantage of them.
Absolutely. And your colleges, university would most probably have it already. You want to probably go and seek that in as well. And, try to go into their college portal, career services, and find out if there's any free career mentorship going on. Sometimes there's a long term, there's a short term as well. So the homework is with you. Do you want to go start from the colleges if you're in the recent graduate? I had a couple of, let's say, mentee who already graduated so many years ago, and I was mentoring them. I thought they were a recent graduate, right? And they were already in the industry, but they were looking for someone like me who's like, who is into this industry, saying that, okay, well, I want to learn more about the personal branding, career strategy, and everything. So there are a lot of people, mentors like me, who have lived their experience, and they're inside these portfolio building the mentee as well. And I wanted to be really cautious about those mentors who are just going to be using the mentor for their resume as well, because I've seen that. So I know a lot of mentors, let's say sometimes I'm not a lot of mentors, sometimes when they're unemployed, they put that mentorship as an employment kind of thing. So there's no accountability there. They're building their brand as well at the same time, right? So I'd be very cautious about it. Why are they doing the mentoring? Is it for them to build the brand as well? There's nothing wrong with it sometimes, right, on the side. But there's no accountability now. What are they teaching, right? So I would be very cautious about picking the people who are just there for their needs only too.
It's mutually beneficial, right? They have to be invested just as much as the mentee has to be invested.
Absolutely.
And you just touched on branding. I would love to hear more about that, because you have such wide expertise in resumes and LinkedIn branding. And how, in your opinion, can individuals leverage mentorships to strengthen their personal brand or professional narrative?
So I think, again, it depends on what kind of branding you want to put it out there, right? So is it, there's so much branding piece. It's a biggest umbrella. Branding is biggest umbrella. Is it for a career? Is it to be a thought leader? Is it to get more speaking gig? Is it to get media hunting you, right? So you got to be very clear on what do you want when it comes to branding. If it's a career, then why are you putting it out there? So one of the example was one of the recent grad, I think, he was working survival jobs, and he was introvert. English was not his first language, and he was in the data field. And I said, okay, you want to showcase your work now, because it's going to be very hard for you to talk about yourself in an interview. You're an introvert. You're not going to go out there and network, right? So the branding piece you want to showcase is your talent by putting a dashboard and business analytics piece. And this is what we worked through together. And I was so proud of him, because I didn't even think that, that was doable on LinkedIn. Like, a person wants a job in a data analyst field, and I'm teaching him this. He was my test case on it, right? In a small town. So he put it like amazing, like the branding, stellar branding, by showcasing his work. And he got into the public health sector, public company, government job. And then he's teaching in a college as a professor, right? So branding gets you that far. And he was working. He said to me when he reached out to me saying that I'm getting 0 interviews, right? So it's possible. But the thing is that as a mentor, I can just, he was my paid client, right? But I can only tell you, but you're the one to go and execute it. And it was beautifully done by himself.
Wow, that is such an inspiring story of how personal branding propelled his career forward.
Yes, can you imagine the guy who was an introvert, who had English as a second language? He's teaching the data analysts in college right now as we speak.
That is absolutely incredible. Thank you for sharing that inspiring journey with us. And I'm sure people in the chat are so feel empowered, knowing that a mentor can help them so much in defining your personal brand and giving you those tips and tricks that you might not see for yourself, that lead to such incredible opportunities. We still have a moment. If there's questions, please drop them in the chat. But in the meantime, Sweta, how can people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So I am maxed out on LinkedIn connections. LinkedIn only has 30,000. So I would love for you to follow my work and come ask me questions on my, blogs or whatever I write in. I am active. I'm also active on TikTok as well. I do live audio sessions, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well if you're wanting to know much more things about career. But if you really want to work with me, book in 30 minutes discovery call, and we'll figure out if we're the right fit for one another, and we'll go from there, which is teachingju.com appointment.
And I also saw on your website that you have some incredible free resources.
Absolutely. Thanks for putting it out there. So I
Yeah.
literally just uploaded 25 checklists for LinkedIn branding. Since we were talking about branding, it's for you to grab in if you're looking for branding. I have hooked up the videos and a lot of hard work in there, so you can go literally and start branding on LinkedIn right now. Especially if you want to end up on an employer search, it's going to be there for limited time only. Go to free resources, get all your free resources right now as we speak.
That's an amazing Christmas gift, holiday gift to give out as a guide on how to create a personal brand on LinkedIn. So many people don't know where to start. So definitely take Sweta up on that. It's only available for a limited time. And thank you, Sweta, so much for being here today. This was such an incredible insightful conversation, and your expertise in mentorship and career development is so invaluable. And I love the story that you shared with us in the end, to see how much of an impact a mentor can have.
Absolutely. And you know what? A mentor can just do whatever they want to do, right? At the same time, it's up to mentee's cup of tea to go out there and do it. I think I always tell them, the credit goes to you, kudos to you, whether you're my client or I'm giving you free sessions, right? You are the one actually going and doing it, and then communicating with the mentor saying that, hey, we did this together, right? And it's now I know how teacher feels so good about it when someone really does good. I'm like, oh my God, like best mentors are those who are a cheerleader for you, who watch out for you, and who go like on a WhatsApp, like, what's going on? Why are you not doing it right? So have those kind of mentor, and you're never going to regret why you have those kind of mentor, because we all need those kind of people in our life.
I so agree, Sweta. That was an amazing point to end on, that you want that cheerleader in your life who cheers you on. Thank you so much for being here with you. It was an honor to talk with you, and thank you for sharing so much incredible advice.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure. I wish you all the best for 12 days of Christmas. What's happening right now? So great work, you're doing it. And I'd love to hear so many upcoming guests. And go ahead and subscribe to your channel as well, Teresa. You have a YouTube channel, right? So I would love to see more and more content from you.
Oh, I'm gonna be putting that out there in the new year. Thank you. And you're gonna be holding me accountable for it.
Oh, yes, I will. I'm like, Teresa, where is that? Okay, I will do that.
Oh, I love that, Sweta. We're gonna do this.
All right. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Sweta. Wasn't that just an absolutely incredible conversation we had with Sweta? Her expertise on finding a career mentor is such important in how you can grow in your career. And what really stood out most to me is that she said you can find mentors that can help you grow in your strengths, that validate what you're good at and can grow into getting better at it. And she also help you navigate weaknesses and help you to grow in those areas that might not be your strengths. I also really enjoyed when she was talking and highlighting how important it is to find a mentor that you can be vulnerable and emotionally open with, so that you can share those insecurities or weaknesses and allow them to help you. And one of the things that really stood out to me was mentors can't read your mind. You have to be the one to speak up for what you're looking for, what you need help in, where you're looking for opportunities, to really take advantage of the help they offer you. And in the end, you have to do the work. If you're the mentee, you have to do the work. And the the mutually beneficial relationship really can grow if you're willing to show up, implement what they teach you, follow up on their recommendation, if you're there to learn and grow and do the work they suggest. And speaking about learning and growing, this is day 5 of the 12 days of career goals. So we still have an incredible 7 days ahead of us. We have the most amazing speakers. And if you register on the 12 days of career goals, you not only get the link to the daily live event right into your inbox, but you will also have the chance or be automatically entered to win some of the most incredible prizes. Because what's the holidays without holiday gifts? And this December is all about giving back for me. So this December, I'm giving back big time. And anyone who registers on the 12 days of career goals is in to win the ultimate resume upgrade. So that is a brand new resume written for you. You also have the chance to win a one-on-one deep dive coaching session with me. That is about career clarity. If you're not sure what your next step should look like, we're going to dive deep in that 60 minutes and find the answers together. I have a standard LinkedIn profile to be given away, and that is me redoing your LinkedIn profile. So talk about personal branding. We're going to be really putting out into the world what you want to be known for. And last but not least, I have the Ultimate Transferable Skills Guide. That is a must-have for anyone who wants to make a career transition, to figure out what the skills are that you truly want to be using in your next career step and that you can leverage to make that career pivot. So make sure that you are registering on the 12 Days of Career Goals to not miss any of the next events we have coming up and to not miss out on these amazing prizes that we're giving away. Thank you so much for being here today. This was an absolutely incredible conversation with Sweta, and I'm going to see you back here tomorrow for day 6, when we're going to talk about professional development with keynote speaker, consultant, and LinkedIn learning instructor Lorraine K.